technical challenges that the candidate will face in the role is what's really going to be the driving factor. Because why do they want to go to Google? I don't think it's for the free food alone. I think they might want to go to Google because they're going to work with some great technology, work on some great projects, and it'll enhance their career. They will learn more to enhance their skill set, and hopefully they'll be paid accordingly. So, you know, compensation levels are also a consideration because, you know, Google doesn't underpay. They pay quite well also. Even though they have a very strong brand and a very good story, they're still very competitive with what they pay their developers. Do you have something? Okay. Another great tool is to tap into your own internal employee network. I come from my educational background was in engineering. And one of the things that I took away from, you know, my first lessons in engineering was the more complex a design is, the more prone it is to failure. So keep it simple. If you have a great developer today, I'm sure he knows another great developer that he's a friend with, a colleague with, someone he worked or went to school with. Tap into your own employee networks. And if you're not getting employee referrals, it's a sign that maybe there's something else inherently amiss in your organization because they're not willing to refer talent internally. So they may not be so happy. So look at the strength of your employee referrals. If you're getting great employee referrals, it shows that companies are happy or your employees are happy. Another great tool, if you can't find this awesome developer, the white whale, right? Because you need them to know, you know, all of the, you know, high-end big data technologies. They also need to know, you know, data warehousing technologies because you're doing this awesome application and you need someone that has a skill set across multiple areas of technology. Well, instead of taking the 8 months of pain and frustration to find this one person, only to find out you can't compensate them correctly to actually bring them into your firm, why not hire a junior level developer, but actually pair them with your most senior person and they'll code together in tandem. This is something being used in a lot of organizations, and one of my managers just recently says he is excited to do it. I pitched it to him and he says, yes, Kristian, that's an awesome idea, let's get started. Because the methodology here is you have, in today's world, Generation X kids, and maybe I shouldn't say kids, I'm politically correct, but they are very adept at picking up this technology much faster than the former generation. So if they can sit under the tutelage of someone for 6 months, you might have now an intermediate level developer that you can kind of give a little bit more responsibility to. It's still not your white whale, but at the same time, your coding is still going on, ongoing development, and you have another resource that you can start giving additional work to continue with that project. And it works well in other organizations and something we're going to start doing for sure. And if you are really not tapping into anything in your local market, look outside. It's a global world now. So, you know, if you do have, you know, any kind of immigration limitations and you can't have some work remotely outside of the country, just look out of state. If you take someone from the Ohio area and you relocate them to New York, the bump in the salary from the cost of living alone will kind of be something to whet their appetite from a compensation standpoint, plus the fact that you're providing them this awesome technical opportunity. It's a lot of change, and it's something I've used in the past that has worked well to find that strong candidate. And you still won't break the bank by bringing them into your organization or upset internal equity by bringing them in above the levels of your current incumbent groups. I think I have about 5 more minutes. Do we have any other questions? Yes.
So this is a bit of a meta question, but how have you found in your experience, like, luring great technical recruiters to a non-technical firm?
That is more difficult than hiring a technology person. I have a small network of people that I know that are great recruiters, and all of them are very happy in their jobs and they're not leaving. So when things like this do come up, it's very hard because technical recruiters, or any recruiter, they're very savvy. They know how to interview well. They know how to present well. You're not going to know what quality recruiter you have to their inside of your business, and at that point, it's pretty much too late. It's either they're going to be a great performer, or they're not going to meet your expectation. So the only question I can answer is extreme due diligence and ask around, because this person does have a history. And at the end of the day, it's not really about the volume. So I wouldn't get caught up in the metrics, how many people this person's hired, because you want your recruiter to produce. But if the recruiter basically upsets everyone in the organization while doing it, well, that's a poison pill that you don't want to swallow with complaints, even though it's high volume. You want someone that's good at really developing relationships, not only with the candidates, but also with the line managers. Do they understand the business? Do they understand the problems? Are they going to be able to help? Right. And those are the key points. So just, again, extreme amount of due diligence on hiring recruiters, because it's tough to hire great recruiters, it really is.
Right, and the same kind of pitching the same challenge to a recruiter that is at a Google or a Facebook, like come over to a CITI, for example, and you're going to have a new challenge to recruit technology talent to solve different problems,
Sure.
How, in the same way that you're trying to lure candidates from technology companies, is there ever like a process that you go through to get recruiters from these more
I think it depends on the company, because you can have a great recruiter come out of Google, but they may not be a cultural fit for your organization because they worked at Google, right? But you can have a great recruiter to come from a smaller startup organization, technology focused, that may be ideal. So, does this recruiter fit the culture of your company? Are they going to be committed to what it takes to get the job done? And at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for in a recruiter, because every business is looking for some different level of support. So I'm going to need a recruiter that can do a tremendous amount of high volume, is going to be able to be highly accessible to their candidates. Others, for very high-level executive recruiting, you need someone with that polish and presentation, could really be a very strong ambassador for your company to attract this high-level talent. So it's a different need for every situation. It's not a good blanket answer for all, but you really should look to see what is the current need within the recruiting space, and really try to match it up culturally and, of course, from the functional competencies that are needed for the role. Yes?
I'm just curious about your talent branding and your employer branding and how that plays into attracting the right cultural fit. Is there a big focus there?
It is. I think one of the reasons why I think our recruiting organization has been successful at CITI is because of the brand. In the 4 years I've been at CITI, I've done 3 agency deals. And it's not that I wouldn't like to use agencies, or against my religion. It's just that the brand is strong, so we don't need to pay an external agency to find our talent. And a lot of the talent, of course, we do look at. I get great employee referrals because the morale of the groups are high. People want to work with others that they know and respect. So the internal referral, I think that outside of your question about branding, that's also a big component. But we've done other things. We're still a bank, so we're not bleeding edge on social media, but we have a small presence on LinkedIn, small presence on Twitter. You kind of need this to relate to Generation X. So you have to have some kind of presence in other mediums to enhance your brand also. And I think your recruiters also represent the brand. They should be very, highly active on LinkedIn. And try to do as much outreach on LinkedIn as possible, because that also helps build the brand. The individual recruiter's brand offsets the company brand. All right. I think I have time for one more.
I talked about a couple of things. Employer referral. The first question I wanted to ask was, how much is employer referral overall, city-wise, and how much is for IT? That's my first question. And talked about a few things: employer referral culture, hiring junior technical, looking outside, employee branding. We do all of those, and in a very big way. Anything else CITI has done to attract technical talent?
Sure. All right. Well, first, your first part. Our structure is pretty good on employee referrals. It's 5,000 for technology, 3,000 for non-tech, right? And I make the pitch on every hire. At the end, when I'm closing that deal, I've extended the offer. I tell every candidate, well, our relationship doesn't end here today. Of course, reach out to me if you have any questions. Also, we have an employee referral policy. After you start, if you have any great colleagues that might have the similar skills as you, please give them my information. I make it easy. Don't send me the resume. Give your referral my information. Tell them you've referred me and have them contact me directly. This way, the candidate knows it won't fall into the black hole. Someone will contact their referral, and they have a potential to get a financial reward. So you have to also, basically publicize the fact that you have the program for people to get involved. Now, your last one on the junior candidates, I think you're probably doing everything great. And the only other thing I think that CITI has done, which is kind of small in nature, but I'm surprised that we're doing it at all, recruiters have been using Blue Jeans to do video interviewing. And that's very big with the Generation X population. And we've also implemented a lot of mobile solutions for candidates to actually apply to our ATS from a mobile device, which is also big because they're on their phone and everyone wants to have a confidential search. So if you're on your desk, you can kind of look through the job listings and apply. And not everyone is looking at your screen to see the CITI website up with the opportunities listed. All right, I think that's time, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.